Good morning, grade sixes. It is so great to be able to speak to you again. And today we are going to do some creative writing, which is really exciting because we are going to speak about different genres that we use in writing. When we write or read literature, it is always divided up into different genres. So a genre means that you get a different kind of story that you are reading. For instance, it's the style or the category that you get, like science fiction or a fairy tale or a mystery. We get all these different kinds of genres. And a lot of us, you'll see, as you read more books, you will favor one of those genres or maybe more. You get people who read anything. Me, if I think about myself, I love reading crime novels. So it's more like a mystery genre. But then you get people who love romance novels or fairy tales or science fiction. It doesn't matter. Whatever appeals to you, you can just, as long as you read, I'll be extremely happy. So today you're going to not just read it, you are going to actually write a story where you choose one of the different genres that I'm going to tell you about. We're going to focus on 5 different genres. And the first one we call a familiar setting. So this is just a normal, like you would write to me normally in class, a paragraph or an essay about something that has happened to you and you want to tell us about it. It's about people you know. It is about something that happened to you specifically. So that is what we call a familiar setting. It's a normal story. The second one you can choose is fantasy. This is quite exciting because this is where we use magical creatures or fantastical creatures. Usually, when you do this, you are going to think of some quest that your hero in the story has and that they want to achieve. Decide on that, and then you'll be able to know exactly what to write in your story. You want to imagine the place or the setting as something wonderful or something that's not the same as what we usually have in a fantasy genre. You want to use somewhere else where it's mystical and it's magical and it's completely otherworldly. That is what you will think about. The next genre that I want us to think about is a fairy tale. Some of you girls will love that, maybe some boys as well, and that's awesome. When we write a fairy tale, you usually have a narrative voice, which means there's a narrator, as usual, that you are used to if you've seen those movies as well, where there's someone that's telling the story and telling us the scenes in between, the characters speaking or whatever. So you'll have a narrative voice. The next thing you'll use a lot in a fairy tale is fairy tale phrases. Like you always started off with, once upon a time, there was a magical kingdom, or whatever you want to say. You will use words like, in a land far, far away. We've all watched Shrek and seen that. And then you can use something like, they lived happily ever after in the end. It's usually about something like that, where you have different characters like a prince, princesses, you have a queen or a king, you have a fairy godmother maybe. You can choose. You don't have to have these, but you can choose from them. There's animals that can speak. You have characters like dwarves or something like that. Whatever you think of to make it interesting. But decide on your story beforehand. Don't just start writing and then see where it goes. Think about the whole plot and plan it out before you start. The next genre I want us to think about or learn about is science fiction. Here I think I might find more of the boys, because a lot of you love watching movies like this or play your games where it is a lot of science fiction. Science fiction includes a lot of technology. So you will say that they're using different kinds of technology or robots or things that they do or want to use. Then it's also set in the future usually. It's not right now. It's somewhere in the future where all this technology is possible and where all these new things that they are or have discovered is possible because it's already in the future. Could also happen on another planet if it's science fiction. All right. Usually the main character is in some impossible situation that he has to get out of, or she has to get out of, and you can think about that while you plan it beforehand. And there's usually a villain or a bad guy that the hero or in your story has to beat in some way and get out of that impossible situation because of that bad guy. All right, and the last one is mystery. This is my favorite book that I love reading. Usually there's a puzzling crime that happened. All right, there's usually a clue that you leave for the reader to find, to try and figure out who the bad guy is or what happened. All right, you always write this from the main character's point of view. All right, so the main character will be telling the story. All right, and then you just need to invent a lively, interesting criminal that will make your reader want to read more and more. But just make sure that you don't go into blood and gore and stuff like that, please. That is not what I'm interested in. It should just be a normal mystery that you're trying me as the reader to want to solve. All right, so those are the 5 genres that I want you to focus on. All right, I've given you the pages with all the genres on, and there's a piece here that explains what you can focus on as you do your independent writing about this. All right, and the most important thing is that you plan your story beforehand completely. Who will the bad guy be? Who's the hero of the story? What is the situation they want to get out of? You want to use strong active verbs while you do it. And you want to use some simple sentences and some complex sentences, which means you join 2 sentences together and make it interesting. But as I always say, you can even pray beforehand for wisdom to write an amazing story. And then I am looking forward to reading each one of your stories. Now remember, choose one of the genres and then you make up your own story about it. And I'm going to say that it shouldn't be more than 150 words, please. Let's make it between 120 and 150 words. So I'll know if you guys ask me how many words you have to use, that none of you has maybe watched the video, which is not good because I'm making it especially for you to see my friendly face. Okay, grade 6s, it was great chatting to you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.